Okay.
All right, today's day is February 3rd, 2024. Yesterday, Susie and I and Lester went out to Mount Zion Cemetery and used rebar and string and probed the ground to see what we could find. One of the things that we found was a large rock that was placed in line where you would think a grave marker would be. We also found and kind of began to question, there were square markers there too. Those square markers, according to Hamilton County historian David Highway, said those are foot markers. And oftentimes there would be engravings on the top or sometimes on the side. But because concrete that is used in that form, because concrete's been used forever, it is so made in such a way that rain erosion can oftentimes take away who is actually buried there. Now, I can't remember, Susie, if that, where we found that rock, was there a foot marker there or not? Do you remember?
Yes, and you cut out a whole bunch right there. Okay, so the foot markers, those ones that look like poured concrete,
Yes.
may or may not be foot markers, because I did a little more research, and I don't know if you remember, like William H. Brown, he had his regular stone down from his dad, Henderson, right? But there was also right next to it, it was about this wide and it's arced on the top, and it has their initials on it.
Yes,
That,
I saw those.
right. Okay. Well, those were the ones they set at the foot of the grave. Those, like 6 or 8 inch that looked like they were poured, they could have been, but it didn't look to me like there was anything on the top of those that had anything attached to.
Now, that's what he was saying, is that they may or may not have, and because the way the concrete was made at the time, or this what they used, the material, um, it didn't account for the erosion factor. So David Highway, I mean, it could be. I mean, that's just what I'm telling. I'm just relaying what he told me. There may be other layers to all that and other uses for it that he didn't tell me. But he said those were used as foot markers. Did you freeze? You froze. Are you there? And we're recording. Hopefully she'll come back. Oh my word. I'll pause until she comes back.
So before,
Go ahead, Susie.
okay. Well, what I'm thinking is, no, there was not a foot marker where we found that stone.
Okay.
For sure, there was not. Um, and as far as like Hester's stone would have been, I don't think it would have been concrete. I think it would have been limestone, right? So even if it had a foot marker on it, it wouldn't have been any of those that we were seeing that were over there.
I
Uh,
agree.
so
That feels right. Yeah.
there wasn't one where we found the big stone.
No, but I think I know who was there. But anyway, I think it's James P. But I want to check that with you and kind of go through the steps.
Okay.
Um, but that rock has been following me around all day. Like, you need to go back. We're not done with the rock. So how are you feeling first before I go through all this?
About the rock?
Mhm.
Well, the it just keeps going through my head that that rock is not there just because. Look at my light.
Mhm.
Be-
And look at the discoloration here in mine.
yeah, yeah. Um, it was no, that rock was too big and too intentional to have been that close to the surface there. It had to have been something that was placed there.
So, okay, having said that, before we go further, as I was tuned in, I am kind of approaching it a little bit different. I'm not going to the persons who would give me their version of their story.
Right, okay,
I brought Daddy-O into the environment here, and I'm like, he's got access, kind of set it up to the cosmic internet records. And I cringe when I say the Akashic records because that is so cliche. It's just my own personal gunk. Um, so when I get the information, I had this download that was so strong to me, Susie. I was getting an actual visual. I could see it. So, and that's coming in stronger and stronger. And as you do this, be prepared. As you go through this, you're going to have the same thing happen. So what I would like for you to do is do what we talked about yesterday. I want you to close your eyes, take in a couple of deep breaths, and I'm going to tell you what I feel, sense, and see. And then I want you to feel if that feels right or if that feels off. Let me know when you're ready.
okay,
All right. So I'm saying, okay, what is the reason for the rock there? It feels intentional. Absolutely, yes, without a doubt. And then I heard that's where James is. Now, there's no way to prove that other than to dig up whoever's down there and do a DNA test if there's no records to show it. But the visual, and that's my frustration. You know, they're leading you to the body, you know, and then we're frustrated because there's no way that we can prove it, right? So I said, tell me what happened. Show me what happened. The next visual I get is that I can see Henderson overlooking this mound of dirt that is this grave. And it's almost like he comes and he just drops this. I mean, literally, like drop it right where where we found it. Like he drops it. It's not even placed. It's like dropped. And that's all the marker you're going to get. And I feel like that's his way of, you made mom disappear. Now I'm going to make you disappear. That's how it felt to me. That's how it came in. And I could see the mound of fresh dirt, and I see him. He's a big guy, comes in, drops that stone. That's the only marker you'll ever get, with the intent that nobody needs to know that much about you. You need to be lost to history because you tried to erase my mother.
right. And you said the same thing when you were standing there. I don't know if you remember it or not.
I don't. It's just sometimes the shit flows out of my mouth. I don't even know what I'm saying. Look at this.
Yep.
Look at this.
You said the same thing yesterday when we were standing there. Um,
Yeah, but you, Susie, you know what? I get shit wrong. I'm new to this, you know? That's why I want you to feel it out too.
well, the thing that gives me, unless they're together or near one another, it feels like if for Henderson or for James, that feels to me to be in the wrong place. He's over with the Helms and the Blantons and not over with any of the Browns.
I feel like he's there.
And it would seem very disrespectful to me to put James P. with her family. That's what,
Maybe that's the point.
no, it would be disrespectful to Hester.
Oh, to Hester. I
Yeah.
see.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, at first I thought that had to be Hester because I kept feeling Hester in, because I asked her, where is she? And I kept getting pulled right where we went to.
Right.
That's where I'm like, we need to be here. And
Right.
that's when we pulled up that rock. But
Right.
again, this is so new to me. maybe I wasn't tuning in to Hester. Maybe it was more important for the story to be, you're going to find him and you're going to see what we did. We left this rock to erase him, just like he erased Mother. That's where I'm going with it. I don't know. I've got to back away from Hester right now, but that's where I'm being pulled to. It's like somebody's got this thing around my heart and just doing this with me. That's how it feels. Holy cow.
I'm not saying. So you walked off into the blizzard?
Yes, it's the only way to get cooled down.
Um,
I can turn the blizzard off. I had people today. They don't need to see my environment. I like my nest.
um, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not getting that. I felt that was the area that she was in.
You may be over there, Susie. I don't know. I'm telling you that that rock has got nothing to do with her.
Well, I'm not saying the rock has anything to do with her.
And that's what I'm saying. The rock has been bothering me. It's when remember the nose used to follow people in the commercial?
Yeah,
That's what's been going on with me since we've been there at that rock.
yeah.
Look at your light. I think I need to reassess where she is. I feel like it was more important for me to know where he is and how he is laid to rest before I can. It's almost as it's remember how we're asking these questions. I don't mean to fight with you.
I'm not fighting. I'm just listening.
Um,
Because I mean,
how we're moving the pendulum and we'll ask questions,
yeah.
right? And it will stop. It's like, no, we're not going to talk about that.
Mhm.
It's almost, Susie, as if we're telling our story and you're taking dictation.
Well, right. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
certain focus on.
Yeah. So let's go through the exercise and ask Dad the questions. I don't want to ask the questions. I wanted to give you the scenario, and then together, hopefully, we can flesh this out.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to put it so you can see it.
Okay.
All right. So Dad is here.
Dad is here.
Hi, Susie.
Hey, Dad. All right. Dad, do you know if that stone that we found, the rock we found, was it to mark a grave? You don't want that?
I know all now.
Well, okay, as he should.
All right, Dad. Can you access the Akashic records and listen to Susie? Listen to Susie. Look how that just stopped.
Yeah.
Listen to Susie and answer her question, and she will ask the questions, respond to her questions. Okay, yes, thank you. Are
Okay.
you ready to go? All right, go ahead, Susie. Ask your question.
The rock Sally and I found in Mount Zion Cemetery yesterday, is it there to mark a grave? Does it mark the grave
You
of,
can see it, right?
yeah, does it mark the grave of someone we're related to? Does it mark Hester's grave, Hester Ann Helms? Does it mark James P? I see you moving your hand.
You're going to see me moving my hand. It's moving.
Okay, all right. So does that rock that we found mark James P. Brown's final resting place? Did James P. Brown die in 1857? Did he die in 1858? Did he die after his wife, Hester Ann Helms? Was Hester's physical death when James P. could finally marry Mary Pickle? Did he have to wait for Hester to die to marry Mary Pickle? Is James P. Brown the father of Job Brown? Job Harvey Brown. Is Hester Ann Helms the mother of Job Harvey Brown? Is a woman named Amelia the mother of Job Brown? Was Amelia married legally to James P. Brown? Was she living with James P. Brown when Job was born? Is Hester Holmes the father or the mother of Perry Brown? Okay.
It's down the middle, Susie, and I don't know why.
Okay. Interesting.
No doubt about that. I don't understand that at all.
Did Hester Ann Helms give birth to Perry Brown? Okay. All right. All right. So
I don't know why it's going down the middle on that one. How can that be a yes or no question?
well, I don't know. There's something. Okay. So did Amelia, the mother of Job, die while she was with James P. Brown? Did she leave James P. Brown? Did she leave her son Job behind with James P. Brown? Hmm. Did she leave Indiana when she left James P. Brown? Did she go to Hancock County when she left James P. Brown? Did she live with relatives of hers in Hancock County? Was she a part of Job Brown, her son's life?
Oh God, I just got to download. We can talk about it when you're done asking questions.
Okay. All right. Are James P. Brown and Hester Ann Helms buried within 10 feet of one another? Are they buried in the same row in Mount Zion Cemetery? They're buried in the same row in Mount Zion Cemetery. Is Hester closer to her brother Isaac than James P. is. Did the rock that we found mark the grave of James P. Brown? Is there a stone that is buried that we could find now that marks Hester Ann Helms Brown's grave? When we walk through the gate of Mount Zion Cemetery, we're going to go back and 2 rows to the right. Is that where we will locate her? Is she in the same row as her brother Isaac? Okay. Was the Amelia that took up with James P. Brown, supposedly mother of Job, was her last name Haskell?
That's what you felt.
Was her last name Rutherford? Was she married before? Was she a widow when she came to James P. Brown? Was her husband Shelton Rutherford? Did they live together in Switzerland County? Did James P. Brown and Hester Ann Helms have any children that did not live to adulthood? Did Henderson, her son, at one point try to intervene between a fight between her and James P.? Did her father, John Helms, believe Hester's story that she was being abused? Was Hester's biological mother Elizabeth Z. Helms? Was Hester's biological mother named Rachel? Did Rachel die in Tennessee? Did she die in what we know as Warren County? Was Hester's father, John, born in Pennsylvania? Can you tell us the year that Hester was removed from her house with James P.? Could you give us the year, please? We'll assume it's 18. Give us the second 2 digits.
4. I think it's either saying 1830 or 1840.
It would make more sense to be 1840, and it looked like a 4 to me.
Okay,
So,
that's why we have your eyes on it.
okay. I'll double check against what we think we know. Did James P. Brown give up his land in Switzerland County in the year 1817? Was that land legally his? Will I be able to find a deed with his name on it in Switzerland County?
Okay, so I'm hearing Dad. Let me give you what I get. You throw it in whatever box you want.
Okay.
Um, where are you taking this? Do you want this to be historically 100% accurate, or do you want to tell a story of your family? Because he's saying it's going to be very hard at this point to make sure. I mean, we can guide you and show you, and yes, you might be able to find this deed here. How long do you want to spend doing and searching for a deed that matters not to the story? Just tell the story is what he's saying. Tell
Well,
the story, we will guide you.
I'm not
I
disagreeing. I'm saying and I'm not going to stop writing to find it. I'm just trying to
I'm just that's what I get.
stuff. So tell him I'm not stopping writing.
He says, I hear you, Susie. He says, I hear you, Susie.
Hmm?
He says, I hear you, Susie.
Okay. All right. Okay. Dad, can you give us?
Look how that just stopped.
Uh-huh. Okay. I won't even ask.
No, you can go ahead and ask. He's just waiting for you to answer or ask the question.
Okay. Amelia Rutherford. Amelia Rutherford was Job Brown's mother. Did James P. Brown have any children with Mary Pickle? Okay. That's where my head was. Did Mary Pickle leave him before he died? Okay. All right. I'm sure you know that the thought that Sally and I have on this, her last visit to the church where she was trying to see her children, and how broken down she was. Are we in the right ballpark with that? Did she ever go back after that time? Did she give up completely on her life in general at that time?
Well, he's giving you a yes and a no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can you tell us how long she lived after that moment? How many years?
Hold on, still moving.
Still moving.
Looks like it's settling on 6. Okay, so I feel like what I'm getting in that particular image, somebody saw something, there was hope, there was a spark of hope that came out of that event that kept her going for a little while.
Okay.
But I feel like over time that even fizzled out. Maybe ask Dad that. Was there a fizzle of hope in that event that came, okay, that sprung out of that event and then eventually died? A kind of a small
Right.
shred of hope. And again, Susie, that ties back in with Henderson and to some degree, John. That's a pretty strong yes. It's not going anywhere. I think those two kept her going somehow, some way.
All right. How old was Job when Amelia left? Can you tell us that? Was he less than a year old? No. Okay, can you give us the number?
Looks like it's going to about 4, doesn't it?
Yeah. All right. So the scene that we're talking about in the church that was so devastating, was Amelia present at that? Okay. Did she leave him because she feared for her life?
Yeah, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing how it plays out. I can see it in my head. Dad, the images that are playing out in my head, are they accurate? Truth and accuracy only. Do you want me to tell Susie now? I feel like I have to share this.
Okay.
Um, so when you start talking about it, the images that flood in, I feel so. I don't know if they're living in a cabin, it's rustic conditions, obviously compared to ours, even, but they're outside. It's nighttime, there's not a lot of light. I feel it is a moment where I think James Pete, there's a head that comes where he now knows that she has been getting the children
Behind it.
to
Back.
him. Yeah, and that is the big no. Um, and this confrontation takes place. It's outside. It feels dark. It feels cool. So I don't know if it's early autumn, if it's, I don't know where it is. It's just, it feels, I feel he attacks her. But in this particular case, I feel she knees him in the groin, and I feel her jump on the horse and he starts chasing her. I feel she is in fear of her life. And I think the last thing she sort of hears is, I'll do to you what I've done to Hester and more. And again, he's drunk. And I think he threatened her later, don't come after the boy. And then I think that threat is repeated. Don't come after the boy. If you want people to think, you're not crazy. I mean, it's basically, I'm going to do to you what I've done to Lester or Hester. Maybe I want to do that to Lester. Psychosomatic. Oh my goodness, that light's getting so bright, Susie. Ooh, it's growing. I don't think she wanted to leave the children or the son. I don't feel she had a choice, and the law was on his side. And it's almost like if you push against it, she already knows what he's done to Hester. I do feel she feels, oh God, this is even worse. Let me make sure I'm getting this right because that makes me want to puke.
Valley.
Oh, then it's right. Okay, thank you. Um, he's saying he threatened to kill the boy. She came after him. No wonder he didn't even place the rock. Placing the rock on that grave, I feel Dad is saying, is even too much respect. It is like getting up there and just kind of like dropping it. There weren't that many graves in the graveyard there.
Not
It
a,
re-
I'm sure.
Dad is sort of saying when he died, it wasn't like their side are, it wasn't like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Look,
Hmm.
Dad says, be very careful not to view it through our modern eyes.
Of course not.
But we're both doing it. You did it, I'm doing it. That's what confuses me.
As far as what happened?
As far as placement in the graveyard, you
Oh,
know,
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can see that. Ask Dad if the original chapel was situated like behind where the church building is that we're aware of.
Dad, did you hear the question? Was the original church chapel behind the one that you saw, the one that is currently there, built in the 1860s? So is it just like right behind the church where it is now? Was it a log cabin?
Was it also used as a school?
All right, all right. Look at the light. Dad's saying, look at the light. And he goes, look at me. I'm doing pretty good now, aren't I? Look at me. Look what I'm doing. I've
Good.
learned that good, haven't I? Look how bright I can make that. That's what he's doing to me.
Well done. Little practice. We knew you could do it.
He goes, oh, I've done a lot more. You just haven't been paying attention. By the way, the toilet lid was him.
I
I
knew.
just say it.
I
Look
knew
at the light. Look at the light. It just
it was him. It,
and he says, and I'm the one who batted the wind chimes.
mhm.
So the wind chimes hanging over the dryer at the time
Mhm.
when I was at the sink, that was him. I look at him. I'm doing pretty good, aren't I? Look at me. Look, I'll do it again. Look, I'll do it again, he says.
There.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
He's having a good time with this. He's so happy we're talking to him. And it's actually, look at this.
Mhm.
Look, he told you he's going to do it again.
Wow. Look at that. I think he gets it brighter than anybody. Yeah, we
He
can.
does because he has that love connection with us. We're
Yeah.
his babies. And he's been waiting a long time for us to figure this out, he says.
Better late than never.
That's right. All right. He says, you better be asking me now before the energy fades. It takes a lot for him to get it to that level. So go ahead with your questions, he says.
Okay, well, is there anything coming to your head?
Yeah, Dad, can you confirm the image I have in my head about Henderson dropping the rock on that place? Was that over his biological father's grave? So that rock is marking James P. Brown? And is that rock dropped? And did he say, that's all the recognition you'll ever get?
Hmm.
Okay, can you tell me, is Hester buried within 10 feet of James P. Brown? So they are separated. All right. Can you ask location, Susie? Can you place in your mind where you think you
Yeah,
see her?
is Hester in the same linear row as James P? Is she closer to her brother Isaac than James P is?
You know what, Susie? No, we made a, uh-oh. I wanted us to look at this. And so the answer is yes, that's confirming. Yes. Um, but because I don't feel that we're gonna be able to find her stone,
What's the
I
point?
think what we could offer to do is that we could put a memorial plaque that it is our belief that she rests here. And this is in memorial to, and I just think in memorial to the Hendersons being the mother. I think we should do that.
Well,
I
yeah,
think,
yeah. And I mean, we can put it somewhere in that row. I mean, and we can have it be a headstone. I mean, if
yeah,
it's a long grave, who's gonna know? We know about where she is. And there's
right, right.
space before we got to, a lot of space before we got to,
It's lighting up the side of your face.
yes, there was a lot of space, there was a lot of empty space before we got to the place with the rock.
Right, there was.
And if that original church sat behind the church, it would make sense that a lot of those older graves would be right to the side of it,
Yes.
more toward the road. They would be toward the side where that empty space is.
And it is a little higher ground
Yeah.
versus over there. So got some pulsating going on. Oh, good Lord. Look,
He's going to wear himself out.
he is. You're going to blow out Susie's. He's like, yeah,
Oh,
but look at what I can do. And you're paying attention, he's saying. And you're paying attention.
I
He,
know.
oh, says he's enjoying the interaction. I'm enjoying the interaction. I haven't done it in a while.
Well, yeah.
It.
Going a
You're
minute.
hitting it, girls. Hey, Dad, you want us to sing to you? He goes, no. All right, so ask if that's right about the plaque and stuff. So go ahead and ask it in your questions and sort of, okay, Dad, listen to Susie.
All right. Are we correct in putting a stone in? We'll pick a space that's farther from James P., closer to Isaac's family, and place a stone for Hester. Can we get a death year for Hester that we can put on the stone? Can you give us a death year?
Hey, Dad, go ahead, give us a death year. We're going to assume it's 18, so go ahead and give us the last two digits. 5. He's going to 1850.
Okay.
So if you think about it, for what we do know, if she died in 1850 and that graveyard started in 1844, how many graves were actually in there? Yes, I see you, Dad.
Right, right. Well, plus, in the question we asked earlier was, how long after the church situation was it before she died? And I think it was 4 or 5 years, okay, Job was about 4 when Amelia left. So that would have been about 1848 or 9 when Amelia left. So
Got
1850,
a confirmation flash.
yeah. And 1850 feels right because 1847 was when she was in the, you need your sunglasses?
Just about.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was in 1847. So we know it was after that.
Mm-hmm.
So around 1850 makes sense. Let's ask Dad one more thing about
Hold
her.
on, let me think about something here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking when we got that one between 1840, um, I think it's earlier. Because I think it wasn't done. I think it was going to 1830. And I kept seeing Henderson as a teenager. And if it's 1840, he's 28 years old. Yeah, confirm with the flash, Dad.
That scene at the church happened at 1830.
Uh, Not the scene. Oh, yeah, the scene at the church. That's what we asked.
Yeah.
He was 28 when that took place. Okay, that's the confirmation. You're right. You're right. You're right, Susie. Okay, you are right. So go ahead and Daddy-O. Sisu has another question for you.
Oh gosh, now I got to chase it again. Where was it? Oh, was there a bit of mixed feelings between Hester and her sister Marianne? Was their relationship a little difficult, a little fraught? Was there jealousy involved on Marianne's part?
Oh, I never thought of that. It must have come to you. You're getting confirmation and look at the light.
Yeah. Was Hester, but Hester did she have a good relationship with her sister Elizabeth? Okay. I want to make sure I was headed down the right path in what I was writing. Was Hester's personality as a
Hold
young,
on. He says she's getting it from me. She doesn't even know it. He says I'm writing the book.
well, he is a good writer.
Uh-huh, he is.
That's why it's good that I'm doing the typing.
That's right. Yeah, because I don't have any fingers to type with. Oh my God, this is hilarious. Go ahead, Dad. Answer Susie's question. Susie, ask it again.
I don't think I asked another question. I just said I
Yeah, you
wanted.
did. You said something about the relationship between sisters.
Oh, her relationship with Elizabeth was a good one.
Yes.
Was.
And was Elizabeth intentionally separated from Hester through the husband? Yes. So that was an intentional wedge.
Yep, we kind of were going there, so that's good to know. I think I've got, oh, I know what I was going to ask. Hester as a teenager, young woman.
I am really hearing Dad's voice. This is really, really, really cool, Susie. This is so cool. But one of the things I have never heard him say was that dropping that rock was the fuck you he needed. Look at that.
Yep.
Look at it. Oh
Well,
my God.
Dad would never tolerate a man like James P.
Absolutely not.
Okay,
But I never heard Dad ever use that language with me, and yet it's coming through loud and clear.
well, he never made any bones about anything either.
Well, he's not making any bones now. That has not changed.
So Dad is
Yes. He's in a mood.
is Hester is the fact that James P was not ever part of the family story that we ever got. Was it intentional to not let him live on?
Yes, but he does not agree with it.
Yeah,
He says
but-
he goes, people are people. Look at that. Look at the light. You can't even see the lampshade. He goes, people are people. And history needs to be told the way it was.
right,
Other people can learn from observing the mistakes these other people made. To bury it for prideful reasons was wrong.
right,
And it's a piece of history that has, he says, to lost to our generation,
yeah,
that is that key that, we have nothing other than the DNA to prove it. So apparently he's aware of the science. Uh, yes, I'm aware of the science. Look at it. Look. So, and yes, it was done to obliterate him as much as possible. This man, yeah, but we don't need to go beyond that. We don't need to tell the stories.
oh,
We don't talk about the rape and the drunkenness and the baby being handed off in the church and all of that.
about that, Lewis. Let's ask
Let's,
about Lewis. Can
all
he
right, Dad, hold on. Let me get started here. All right, Dad, go ahead. Answer Susie.
Was Lewis Brown born in 1844, James P. Brown's biological child? Was Lewis a result of a rape? Did he get handed off to James P. in the church?
Look how bright that light is, Susie.
Yep. Did Lewis live with James P.? Did James P. select a guardian for Lewis before his death? Or did, yes, okay.
So there should be record of that.
Well, there's a guardian named, but I didn't know if did the court name the guardian, choose the guardian? Okay.
All right, he's a look at it. He stopped the pendulum. Okay, what's your next question?
Was Lewis born in Hancock County? Hmm. Was Lewis?
Hold on. He's just accessing the records.
Okay.
He's answering. Hold on. He went to yes.
Okay.
Is that what you suspected?
I'm just looking. Well, that's what was on his the burial card when he was killed, when he died, when he was in service in Civil War.
I
It's
see.
he was from Hancock County.
Gotcha.
Did his guardian live in Hancock County? That's what I thought. Okay. Was his guardian biologically related to Lewis? Was it on his mother's side?
Hold on. No, hold on.
It was on his father's side.
It's funny, as you're asking these questions, I can feel the shifting energy. It's almost like I hear it, and then the pendulum follows what I hear. Oh, it just stopped. Okay, he's showing us, what he's showing us is that, look, I'm in control of the pendulum.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm controlling the light and the pendulum.
Well, he is just full of himself today.
Yes, he's very proud. He's actually thrilled that we're paying attention to him and that we're recognizing that he's moving the energy, he's responsible for it.
Well, we've always known he's here, but maybe he didn't know we knew.
Because I knew. But it's, this is a complete interaction, just like when he was here on this side. And
Yeah.
that's what feels really good to him right now. This is making him feel very good.
Um, Job Brown, was he James P.'s son, Job? Was he a violent man like his father?
Really? Did you come across something like that? Because it's coming in as yes.
I see
I
that.
don't know where you would have got that information.
Well, I only know he was divorced.
Mm.
And knowing his father and the fact that his childhood had to have been tough.
Oh God, yes.
So, I wondered if that was part of, because Job died in the poorhouse. Is that correct, Poppy? Yes. Okay. After,
Dad says he was a train wreck.
yeah, I can imagine.
Okay, so for women, I kind of hear Dad. What is the attraction? Look at Dad. The attraction for James P. For these women to consider him as a mate is that all the land he owned And I think James P. embellished how much land he really had. I don't think he was ever very truthful. Like, so I feel like he owns a plot here, he owns some acreage, has acreage over here. So as he's taking his woman around, going to looking at the land, he's like, yeah, it's all out there. And, their eye might be seeing his land, but they're assuming the other land that's adjacent to his is also his. So it is, look at the light. So it's this embellishment that he does. He's just full of himself.
Is he, okay, here's a good question. Is he full of himself? Or is he insecure?
Dad says, what's the difference?
Well, I think the difference is what the underlying thing is inside the person's personality.
Look what he's telling you, though. Look at that light.
Yeah.
In this context, what is the difference?
Yeah. Insecurity quite often plays itself out in narcissism.
Absolutely. Fear of not being recognized.
Yeah. Not being seen. Which could be.
But Dad he says not seen, recognized.
There's a difference.
Yes. Recognized is, it's one thing to be seen, but to be recognized as a prominent person is what is carrying this through. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hope you got lots of light bulbs.
Yeah, I'm gonna stock up.
He's so proud.
Yes, he should be.
So I think our new dynamic, I think what we'll do is this. We'll bring Dad in for all these details, and you and I can work together on this book. And then when we want to know and talk to the personality of the person to get a sense of who they were, we can bring them into our little divine room, if you will, and you can get a sense of who they are. And I think right now, when you sit and you write Hester, you are like so tuned into her that she's almost flowing out of you into the pages. Look at that verification right there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can tell when I view it as on the right track when I'm writing. I can tell it when I'm doing it. I feel it. So
Dad says he's very proud of you.
no.
He says he's been with you through the whole journey. Look at the confirmation I just got. Look how it washed out.
Well, he would have been a very good storyteller.
I know. Look at that verification. Look at that verification. That is crazy. You don't have to stand out there. I'm just holding the heat in.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. He's really showing off now.
Yeah. Not what? Oh, okay.
All right. Well, I was
No, he's gonna go shower.
yeah. Well, I think I probably better go make dinner.
Yeah. Well, we ate late. We went to Erica's and had tenderloins, and neither one of them could finish it, so we're having that for leftovers tonight.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, we may end up with,
Fryer does wonders.
I was gonna make meat.
That's not done yet. That's funny.
He can continue to chitter chatter away.
Yeah, he says it feels like Christmas, he says. It feels like Christmas. He just feels so joyful that we're interacting with them. But we're going to come back, Dad. This is just the beginning of the journey.
Well, it's Christmas for us too.
That's right. It is a complete reunion. We love it. Now, if you can imagine getting Mom and Dad in the same room together and having this conversation, what that light's going to be doing.
Road. Yep. It's going to be a situation, I'm afraid.
Oh, you might have exploding light bulbs.
So,
Do
all
you
right.
have any other questions? I'm okay. So yeah, he really, he's taken me back to, he goes, on all seriously, he's going there. He really wants to hammer home. He really wants to hammer home that soft earth mound and that walking up with the light at rock and just
Thanks a little bit. Yep.
and dropping it, and that's all the recognition you'll ever have.
Got it. It's in my notes.
I know, but it's interesting that if you don't get it out, and look how I insist.
I will write that down tomorrow.
Oh, okay, yes. Don't forget Amelia. She fights back. He's telling me she fought back. She got him in the nuts, is what I hear him say. Got him in the nuts. Jumped on a horse somehow, some way. I don't know. I think he's coming home. I don't think the horse is put away. I think he's so mad and so drunk. This horse is just out there.
Well,
Like,
here's a question. Did he hear something when he was out drinking with someone that set this off?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's one of those passing statements that the person saying what he said wasn't thinking that he was putting anybody in any danger. It was just like, oh, by the way, I saw, Amelia out, visiting with the children, that's really nice of you to let the mother go, you got a kind heart, something innocuous like that
Mhm.
that just turned him from, happy to enraged. Like, I feel like he can't get to the farm
Enough.
fast enough.
Yep. All right. All right. I'm gonna actually type some of this down before I go downstairs to feed
I'm
her.
gonna, once this is done processing, I'll put the 3 videos up on YouTube.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I'm
All
gonna
right.
stay on before Dad leaves.
No, Dad says, keep talking to me. You'll feel me. You'll hear my answer. You know what your dad feels like, he says.
I do. I do.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Bye, Dad. Have fun with Sisu.
See you later.